Welcome. We're trying something a little bit different here. Peek behind the scenes. We decided to do this midway through the last episode we recorded because we realised that this was going to be a long episode otherwise, and we wanted everyone to kind of really sit and think about what was going on with Indian Wells and Miami. But we didn't want to skip out on talking about all the news. So this is your Ground Pass News Roundup.
I love a good name. I love a good title to something. But yes, we're trying this out. Let us know if you like it. So if you listen to the Ground Pass episode on Monday, that was all about Indian Wells and the Sunshine Double. If you had any questions for us, remember you can email us, send us a note somewhere in social media, and we'll try and answer those questions for you. But yeah, this is coming out on Tuesday. It's a short roundup of the news because we wanted to talk about some of these stories that came out of last week's tennis because there's been some really great stuff happening. And I'm gonna let Nick start because he's about to wax lyrical about one Mirra Andreeva. Take it away.
I have been doing that. I did that on my other podcast as well, to be honest. Like, if you want to, I like Mirra Andreeva this week has just been phenomenal. 17 years old, is the youngest ever 1000 champion in the WTA. And that's impressive. I mean, given the 1000 format as it currently exists is fairly recent. I bet you if it went all the way back as long as the ATPs has, Monica Seles would probably be in there, or Martina Hingis as younger. Any of you people who were in the 90s might remember those names. But Mirra Andreeva, wow. I mean, she beat Iga Swiatek, she beat Elena Rybakina, and just outplayed them completely. Yeah. She got to the quarterfinal with Iga Swiatek without dropping a set and was bageling and breadsticking all the way through. And there's so many reasons to go on she's so talented. Mirra Andreeva, she's 17 years old, she's doing all this, and I think she's possibly the most exciting, she's officially considered as the most exciting tennis talent that we've had in, depending on your point of view, either years or decades. And what excites me about her is the way that she plays. She always seems to know where exactly she needs to put the ball at the right time. She knows that she doesn't need to hit it hard. She just needs to put it in the right place. And she knows exactly where that is when she's locked in and she's focused. And the more confident she is, the better she is at reading a situation. As she's physically matured, she's got stronger. We saw that in the way that she's able to kind of go toe-to-toe with these big name players. And so she's not afraid of them. She's not going to be pushed back by them. Yeah, Mirra Andreeva is now ranked in the top 10 in the world. Again, she's 17. She turns 18 during the Madrid Open in April, May. Honestly, it's been such an amazing week for Mirra. And yeah, she is justifiably proud of herself, as she shared in her winner's speech, which if you haven't seen, I think you put it on social media, Anastasia. She thanked herself for, and you know what? It's funny, and maybe it's a little bit, it's a little bit something, but I think it wasn't intended to be boastful or anything like that. She was using this moment to acknowledge the journey that she's been on in her young life so far. And really good role model for anyone else her age or younger, or even the rest of us, to be honest. So Mirra Andreeva is a name that is here to stay. And she's got everyone very, very excited, as she has been since she was 15 years old.
Yeah, it's, I think a lot of what I love about this is not just the win itself, because the run to the win was just everything. I couldn't, if I was a tennis player, this is the run to a title I would want. Beating the number 2 player in the world, Iga Swiatek, beating Elena Rybakina, who is someone that has always been in that sort of top 5 conversation, and then to win a title. And who she beat in the final was Clara Tauson, who we'll talk about right after this, is really showing up this season and showing that she is the new big hitter in town, So really, really great matches. But for me, I think it's Mirra's journey in general that I just love, because we met her all as she was 15, turning 16 a couple of years ago at the Madrid Open, where she's this spunky kid and you're like, oh my word, how is she this talkative and just ready for the cameras and just so excited to be there and
A
loves
little
Andy
bit too open
Murray.
about her crush on Andy Murray.
I was just gonna say, like, loves Andy Murray. I mean, I loved the whole thing. But you've kind of seen that growth from that little girl who was just so excited and happy to be there. And then sometimes on court would have frustrating moments and just not know how to turn things around. And you saw her become this really focused, smart player. You know, the thing about all of her matches, because I watched the one with Iga, Elena, and the final. And it's something I noticed. No one was really talking about it, but each time, if you notice, her celebration was so subdued. She was very leveled in everything. And you could just see her mind working and her thinking and her maturing on court. She's 17 years old, but I don't think I could have given that championship speech at 17. She's so confident in herself and but also willing to acknowledge the work that she's gone through to get to where she is. And I don't know, it was a very, very mature moment. And I loved seeing that whole arc. Like the win was great. I think just the arc to seeing her get there was so good. And I'm excited to see what she can do going forward. I think we've always known like she's going to win titles. She's going to be great. And it seems like it's finally all coming together.
It's finally coming together like way quicker than I thought. Like I would never predict a 17, 18-year-old to get this high this quickly. Like Coco Gauff is the only recent example that's really comparable. And it's getting to the point when Andreeva's development is starting to go on a steeper curve than Coco's was, which is very interesting. We'll see how that kind of progresses. But yeah, it's not something I would have predicted for her this quickly because I don't want to put that pressure on her. We don't want another like a Maddie Key situation or anything like that, Caroline Garcia, right. As well. The only thing is that, of course, if you are a ground passer, you might find that she's not going to be on those courts anymore. Like, no, I think she's going to get too big a following. Like, even I can't think of many Grand Slams that would put her on an outside court. Or like a sort of a lower level outside court. And even if they did, it would be packed very, very quickly. So your opportunities to go and watch Mirra Andreeva might be shrinking as we're talking about this.
Yeah. So if you see her on an order of play anywhere outside of a stadium court, you run, don't walk, run, because she's going to make the big time. I also, someone who maybe you might still be able to catch on a ground pass, but who knows for how much longer, Clara Tauson is money. She's always kind of been around, talked about. I know she had some injury issues as well, but watching her from the Australian Open where she pushed Aryna Sabalenka, and I mean, I was like, oh my goodness, Aryna Sabalenka is going to be out of the tournament because she really was playing her super hard. Now she comes over to Dubai. She beats Aryna Sabalenka in the rematch, which was another great big hitting. If you don't know already, I am a big babe tennis watcher. I love some big tennis, and Clara Tauson is of that variety. And so she's playing really well. She gets to the finals. I think she was gassed. You know, I think she had a lot of tough matches by the time she got to the final, but still was fighting. And that was the crazy thing. Like, I remember you could see that she was tired, but she was still going for it. Like, she was going for her shots and could have, you know, if she was meeting a maybe less mature Mirra Andreeva, she could have probably wrestled that match away from her. So I think Clara Tauson is fun. I'm really excited to see how her year goes.
Yeah, everything you said about Clara Tauson is pretty much what I was going to say about her, to be honest. I guess for a little bit more background, maybe you're listening to this and you remember because this match had a lot of hype. The US Open 2021 final between Leylah Fernandez and Emma Raducanu. Obviously, two very young talents at the time, 18, 19. They're both born in 2002. Leylah turned 19 during the tournament. Emma's birthday is like November time. Clara Tauson was also born around about the same time as Emma Raducanu, November 2002, maybe even December 2002, like the back end of the year. Tauson was also in that category of players who could be doing something interesting. Like she'd beaten Emma Raducanu in the final of a challenger like a week or two before the US Open happened. That was Emma's tournament before she did US Open qualifying. Tauson had got her ranking up enough that she got into the draw automatically, lost to Ash Barty in round 2. She had a really rough draw, which meant that she was playing at the time the world number 1. And then, as you say, injuries kind of messed her up a bit. And then this year, it's been really, really nice to see her finally get into the big time as someone who's been hyped for a long time and someone I would have been, like, over the last couple of years doing this podcast or even before that, telling anyone on a ground pass, go check out this Clara Tauson girl if you've got the opportunity. If there's a Clara Tauson match, well, we're checking her out. And the reasons why are pretty obvious with that forehand, the way she's so brave with it, the way she fights. I was also impressed by the fact that, she probably fought very hard despite being completely gassed. Another thing to be impressed by with Clara Tauson, she's the last person to beat Madison Keys. She beat Madison Keys in Auckland in the first week of the year. And Madison Keys on a winning streak.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I remember watching because I remember that being on, and I was thinking Keys could be putting together an Australian Open run, not necessarily title run, but someone to watch an Australian Open. And then she lost that match to Clara Tauson. Now, Auckland is an awkward time zone for me, so I didn't see the match, but I went, okay, maybe Madison
isn't.
Maybe let's put the brakes on her a little bit for the Australian Open. And Tauson ended up winning the tournament, slightly helped by Osaka's retirement. But though, having watched her, I could also have seen her wrestling that match back her way, even if they had gone another couple of sets. Tauson, and now I'm like, no, Clara Tauson was that good that she beat Madison Keys. And now she's beaten Arina Sabalenka, having learned from her mistakes in the Australian Open match, because I think she lost the Australian Open match because she made a lot of errors when she was ahead and got nervous, and she didn't this time. So that's super, super impressive. I do want to do one quick tangential shout out, because I think the main reason she was gassed in the final, I think it was a physical problem. Like she said after her semi-final, which almost went 3 hours, that she knew that Mirra would have more in the legs than she did. And you could see she was struggling with a hip problem during the final. That semi-final match with Karolina Muchova was insane. It was so good. It was one of those matches that just got better. I had it on in the background. I couldn't pay too much attention to it because stuff kept coming up at work, and I just had the odd crazy rally in my vision. And then I was able to fully dial in for the tiebreak beginning of the third set. And that was the right time to start watching, because the tennis just got so good from both players. Karolina Muchova's between the legs lob is going to be in shot of the year. I put it on my Instagram.
It has to be the shot of the year. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the rest of the year and whatever happens the rest of the year. But a between the legs tweener lob that kisses the baseline. Come on.
Yeah, it was perfectly judged. And the thing is, so I went, that's so good. And I try not to spam the rest of my friends with tennis, but I did put it on my personal Instagram story. Mm-hmm. And my friend who never watches it, who never watches tennis, who kind of is doesn't really understand it, not really a sports guy in general, messages me and he's like, tennis is a stupid sport, but that was really good. That was really good. Props to her. I was like, Karolina Muchova can make any doubter love tennis. That's my tangent.
Again, she's just someone, I think maybe one day we'll just make our top 10, list of people to watch and, put that out. You maybe make a whole episode about her. Karolina Muchova is must-watch tennis.
Karolina Muchova often ends up on a ground pass.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. You just have to go see her because her shot making is excellent. If you like Carlos Alcaraz, you like Karolina Muchova. That's the comparison for you there. So I will put a link to the BTA's post of that shot because I think I've watched it on repeat so many times because you just think, how has she done that?
The second most impressive shot of that tournament, of that match, was then followed up immediately by Clara Tauson, who hit a inside-out forehand return winner to break Muchova to then serve out the set. I just sharp exhale of breath at seeing that shot. I just blinked and the tennis ball was not gone there anymore, and she was fist pumping. I was like, okay,
yeah, that was definitely, I think, probably the match of the tournament. By the way, Nick has a thing where every week And I'm sure you're making a spreadsheet of this, I'm sure. But if you
I
follow
am
Nick on
100% making a
social
spreadsheet
media,
of this.
on X or Blue Sky, he has every week the match of the week. He'll make a little poll and stuff, and I'm hoping that's already on there. I haven't seen the one for this
I
week
haven't put it
yet.
out yet, that's why.
Oh, okay.
It'll
Okay,
be
cool.
out when
Because
you listen to this.
it will be. So check it out. Check it out for sure. So those were the women. That was the Dubai 1000 level event. And on the other side in Doha, the men's 500 was happening. A lot was going on in that tournament. I think Carlos Alcaraz was in it, but he was defeated by Jiri Lehechka, which, it's really funny. I think sometimes the online chatter, because I remember Carlos lost to Jiri Lehechka, and it was actually something I was expecting because Jiri Lehechka is really good. He's
Yeah.
really, really good. But the internet broke. They were like, my word, Carlos Alcaraz lost in the quarterfinals to Jiri Lehechka. And I was like, everyone needs to listen to Ground Pass from now on because then you would know how good Jiri Lehechka is. But so there's all this stuff going on. One match that I cannot get out of my head, and I don't know if you watched this one, the match between Hamad Medvedovic and Stefanos Tsitsipas in Doha. Did you watch this
I
match?
watched some of it. I didn't watch the end of it, which is what everyone was going on about. Why wasn't I? Was it on the Tuesday?
Yeah, it was early. It was like either Tuesday or Wednesday. It was early.
I think something happened where I couldn't watch it, or
Hmm.
there was a WTA match I was watching instead.
Maybe, yeah, probably. Because again, it was early on, and I wasn't even really watching it. A lot of times when I'm working, because tennis is always happening, I'll have tennis in the background, so I'll just like put it on the TV. So it was one of those moments where I was like doing something else. I had the tennis on in the background. Hamad Medvedovic took the first set. Again, something I wasn't completely surprised by because he has been playing really well. He is someone who we've talked about before. He won the next gen a year ago now,
23, I think, yeah.
23. And when he's healthy and playing well, he is really, really good. So he has been playing well recently. He took the first set. Okay, great. Then Stefanos Tsitsipas comes back and takes the second set. I was like, great. Stefanos is fighting back. Yay. And then the third set starts, and I'm just watching it. And then Hamad is doing really well in the third set. I'm like, oh my goodness, he might win this match. He goes out to try and get a ball that's going out wide, and he slides to it a la Novak Djokovic, like tries to do the splits and then slides to it and hurts. I mean, he gets hurt really bad. He's on the ground. It looks like it's his hamstring and groin, and he's like screaming and holding his leg. And it's just so devastating. I'm like, oh my goodness, he was playing so well. He was probably going to win. And here we are. He's probably going to retire. I really thought, I was like, he's going to retire because, first of all, he couldn't get up. The medic had to come over and help him up. There was a medical timeout that was off court. He comes back and he is limping. It's not one of those like, oh, I'm going to just shake out my leg and I'm fine. He is limping. He cannot move. But then he goes to the baseline. I'm like, oh my goodness, is he going to just try and like just
What was the score at this point?
the score at this point was 4-5 Stefanos serving. So it
Okay.
was yeah.
He's
So
probably thinking, if I get a few good returns, cut two good returns in, I win this match.
like just that's it. And I was like, okay, like this is interesting, but cool. Stefanos holds. So now we're 5-5. And I'm thinking he has to retire. He's limping. Like literally, if the ball goes out wide, he can't get to it. He's literally just standing in the middle and trying to shuffle back and forth in the middle. And I'm like, okay. And then it's his service. He serves, he holds as well. Stefanos obviously holds easy because Hamad can't move. And now we're at a tiebreak. And I'm like, this is crazy. How are we at a tiebreak? The player across the net can't move. What's going on? But I was like, okay, it's a tiebreak. Stefanos will just win, I guess, and this will be over. No, Hamad Medvedovic somehow, and I still cannot process how,
Because he was
wins.
obviously like locked in on serve.
I mean, he was on serve. He was like It was crazy. He was serving so well. And I think because he was still doing so well, it might have affected Stefanos because Stefanos lost the tiebreak and Hamad limped to the net to shake hands. And he was so apologetic too. Like you could just tell. He was like, I'm so sorry.
I didn't expect this to go so well.
I didn't expect to actually
I was
win.
either going to 2 points or you were going to beat me in the next 2 games.
It was, I'm still thinking about this match. I just don't know what to think because every now and then.
Is this Anastasia's ATP match of the week?
Yes, it is. And it wasn't even that, it wasn't because of, oh, great tennis or whatever. It was just like shocking. It was shocking. And poor Stefanos Tsitsipas, like, I just don't know how he was feeling after that. He's in Dubai right now. I just saw a video of him practicing, so I'm sure he's fine, but tough, tough loss. Like, that was bananas for sure.
That was a match that was probably one of the stories of the tournament. Although, I did say match of the tournament. I feel like Andrey Rublev might throw something else in the mix, given he not only won the title, he won at least 2 epics to get there and was being bothered by Jack Draper in the final a little bit. But Andrey Rublev still clinging on to the top 10 by his fingertips and has finally got himself another title in what was a pretty strong field. So it's nice to see him constructively using his whenever he's constructively using any frustrations he might have and applying it. Because he beat Felix in a tough tiebreak, and then who else? He had another match that was like super, super close. It might have ended in a match tiebreak, but I can't remember who it was with.
Did he? Was he against Berrettini or?
It was Diminor.
Oh,
Diminor. That Diminor match. Yeah, I saw the Diminor match.
Yeah,
I remember that match now. Yeah, that was a crazy end to that match. So close, but yeah, Rublev. So close to going out twice, wins those toughies with Diminor and Felix. And then I still think even if Draper was fully healthy, he probably still would have won that final, So really, really great to see Andrey Rublev kind of doing Andrey Rublev things again.
Yeah, it really is nice to see him play so well. I haven't watched him play live in a while, not live, but just any of his matches in general in a while because of how he was treating himself on court. It was very difficult to watch. So it's really nice to finally see him back harnessing the good thoughts and the good vibes and just, sticking to the tennis, which there he goes, wins a title, wins another 1,000 level event. It's actually, there's a thing where he and Medvedev have never won the same tournament twice. Except for now. Andrey has finally won a tournament twice because he won Doha a few years ago, and now he's a 2-time champion.
You would have thought Andrey Rublev achieved something that Daniel Medvedev has not.
Medvedev, that's a whole different episode. But what else happened? Okay, so we've talked Dubai, we've talked Doha. So there's been a lot of conversations about doubles going on, which will bring us to Rio. So it's all going to tie together. But I finally got to meet Christian's court in person. Oh, yeah? He's someone that we know online, and I finally got to meet him in person because he was in Del Rey as well. And Christian's great. If you want, I remember talking to him being like, I don't know how you do it, but he's like on the minute news. If you're looking for on the minute news about tennis, he's making a video the second something happens. And I'm like, how are you doing this so quickly? But he posted something because at the Delray Beach Open, we all got to talk to Taylor Fritz, and Taylor Fritz made some comments about mixed doubles, the new mixed doubles change coming to the US Open. So he made a video about it. It went everywhere. And Riley Opelka replied to that video. And historically, Riley Opelka has been someone who doesn't believe in doubles, apparently, and thinks that it's just singles and doubles should just not even be a thing, which I think we vehemently disagree with Riley Opelka in that regard. But what has transpired since then has actually been such a good showcase of what doubles can be. at the Rio Open. And I posted about this because I got to talk to the Bryan brothers at Del Rey, and they were going to talk to the ATP. I really wish I could get an update on how that conversation went, but they have some tips that they wanted to sort of suggest as well as one of the most successful doubles teams that's ever existed, really. Some of their stuff was like having doubles players wear the same outfit, which is,
Mhm.
interesting. So it's more sort of like, oh, they're a team and they're a team. So if they wear the same outfit. Also, something that they were suggesting is doubles teams staying together longer, but also being from the same country. And I thought, the one time we do get doubles players a lot from the same country, there are some teams that exist already that just play together on tour. But the one time we get those for sure at Davis Cup and during the Olympics, we get like doubles teams playing together. At the Rio Open this year, we got Rafael Matos and Marcelo Melo, who are both Brazilian, playing together at the Rio Open. And we've already talked about how great the crowds are during the Golden Swing. Their doubles matches were, packed. Packed with Brazilians supporting them. They don't even play on, I don't think they play regularly on tour together, those two. But they played together at the Rio Open. They're the first Brazilians to win the title at the Rio Open. You had Joao Fonseca in the crowd during their matches. I think he was at the semifinals and the finals. Like, it just created this great vibe that to me was like the perfect contrast to the comments Riley made where it's like doubles doesn't matter. And you just saw what doubles could be regularly. And I was like, this is great. Like, it was like the perfect timing for something so cool and so awesome to happen during the doubles game, because I think doubles is great. Yes. Does it need a little bit of reform? Does it need a little bit more promotion and like trying to work it out? Totally. But as a section of the sport, I think doubles is just, it's fabulous. It's great.
Doubles is brilliant. And we've seen that this week, not just in Rio, but also in Doha as well on the ATP side. Like, so many top name clashes going really, really well and being quite exciting. But yeah, that Brazilian run for Matos and Milo, who are both fairly accomplished doubles players in their own right, has been like one of these stories of the tournament. And like the crowd having some Brazilians to root for has helped, I think, helped draw it in. And like what you said, like if you've got like some nationalness to it, like with Davis Cup or Olympics, that's going to help with the attachment, particularly in your own country. Interestingly, they obviously beat probably the two people who probably would have been one of the heavy title favourites, in that they beat Krajicek and Ram in round one. And, that's not too dissimilar to someone who's going to be in the Rio singles final beating the one of the title favourites in round one, albeit sadly it was the opposite story for the Brazilians, because Joao Fonseca came off the back of the Buenos Aires title, went to Rio, loses first round to Alexandre Müller. That loss is now looking a lot better in retrospect.
Yes, it is. Müller is now in the finals. He is in the finals of the Rio Open. By the way, this is his second final of the year. He won Hong Kong, which I think was a bit of a surprise in a way. Was it Cam Norrie? He beat
it might have been. I mean,
if he didn't beat Cam in the final, he beat him at some point, I think, during that tournament.
Because it was Hong Kong, right? First tournament of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So he beat Nishikori.
Oh, it was Nishikori. Yeah. So even like
he might have also beaten Norrie.
I think he did at some. Maybe they played. I can't remember exactly, but I thought they did play at some point.
No, Nishikori beat Norrie.
There we go. Okay, it's all coming together, friends. But no, so either way, I think his run to that title was very surprising. I don't think anyone looking at that draw was sort of like, Müller is going to make it to the finals and win.
I know why you may have blanked his run from your memory. He beat Artifice.
Fail. How dare he? But no, so I think that was a surprise run for anyone, I think. And him now doing that again in Rio is incredible. And he's playing well. Like, he's playing incredibly well. And he's not someone I've ever had on my radar. He's definitely now someone I'm going to be watching throughout the year just to see, is this just a moment? Is this a blip, or is it a thing that's going to happen? I think I had a very similar thing when I started watching Tomas Mahak, where I was very much like, he's playing well. Is this like this was a couple of years ago, and I was like, is this a thing? And now look at him. Like, he's beating some really, really top players. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. If we had a player of the fortnight, which don't worry, this week we do not, he would be the one I would be talking about because I'm really excited by his game and seeing where he can take it from now. And yeah, Joao Fonseca loses in the first round of his home tournament. Not great, but the win doesn't look as bad right now.
Yeah, definitely not. No, and I think Muller. I'm interested to see what happens when Muller plays Baez as when recording this in about an hour and a half from now. Yeah, it certainly seems to be like 2025 is going to be Alexandre Muller's year,
Yeah.
which is exciting. To round off our news segment, going back to the doubles thing, Radio Pelka has one ATP doubles title.
He does.
He does. He has been, by the way, I just looked it up. His doubles record is he has reached 4 ATP Tour finals in doubles. He's also reached a Futures title in doubles, and he also reached a Junior Grand Slam final in doubles, 2015 Wimbledon. Of those, he has only won one, which is his most recent one. He won the 2021 Atlanta Open doubles title. However, he may have been carried to it by his partner, some Italian guy called Yannick Sinner. They beat Steve Johnson and Jordan Thompson in the final.
That is too good. That is too good. I cannot believe that is too good. How has no one else dug up Riley Opelka's doubles history?
It would probably, by and large, prove him right. Other than he has actually successfully won a doubles title. But even if it's like, doubles is pointless from his perspective, he probably only feels that because he doesn't play well in doubles.
Yeah. But it's not his greatest take. I'm going to have to say that for sure. Okay, so that was the news, basically. I mean, I'm glad we separated this out because there was a lot to go through. Before we leave you, we'll hit you with what's coming up.
Or what's already started by the time you're listening to this.
By the time you've listened to this. In fact, yes. Here's the thing I'll say. The tournaments in the Middle East throw me off a little bit because their finals are on Saturdays and then they start on Sundays for some of them. And I mean, you're so used to a Monday, Sunday schedule. But either way, here's what's coming up. On the ATP, we have the Dubai 500, which has started already. And again, all of these have started. Acapulco, which is a 500 level event. Two things to note, actually. From the Dubai tournament, Jack Draper was supposed to play, but he has pulled out because he wants a break before he goes into the Golden Swing, which I actually kind of like. I like when players try and do this thing with the schedule where it's like they're almost more focused, I think, with you don't have to play everything. In fact, your body doesn't want you to play everything. Space it out a little bit. He is this close to making the top 10, this close. So I think it's best he takes the rest and actually gives himself a shot to do well at Indian Wells or Miami and maybe make that jump into the top 10. Acapulco 500, Taylor Fritz was supposed to play, but he just pulled out. He has an ab injury that he's been actually carrying since Dallas, he said. And then we have the Santiago 250, which I actually do not know who's in that draw. So much is happening.
Yeah, well, it's that, which is the true Golden Swing, because I think you said Golden Swing earlier instead of.
Sorry, I meant Sunshine Double.
To be honest, I knew what you meant, and everyone else knew what you meant, but I'm a pedant.
Good.
So, Chile Open. Yeah, so Cerundolo is the top seed. Baez is playing. It's basically all the guys you would expect to see from the Golden Swing, to be honest, apart from Joao Fonseca, who's taking some time off. But yeah, all the top South American players are there.
Okay, great. Excellent. And for the WTA, what are they up to?
So we got, if you listened to the other podcast, we mentioned that they're in Austin as part of the spring swing so like a lot of the top American women are playing that event. Well, a few of them, like not Keys, sadly, but, Jessica Pegula, Peyton Stearns, a few other kind of regulars from the American side playing. Patricia Kvitova is also playing. She's using an opportunity to come back. And then there's a 500 happening in Merida in Mexico, which is got Emma Navarro as the top seed, then Paula Badosa, a few other top 20 players. Sloane Stephens is there. It's kind of the best of the rest going for their first, going for a 500 title there and getting up some useful points ahead of Indian Wells. But that's everything going on. So if you're an American right now, this is the best possible time zone for you, because the only tennis you're missing is really Dubai.
Yeah. No, it's our little bit of a ramp up. We had a week off. Technically, we had a week off, but now we're ramping up. We're coming in. Tennis is back in the States, and we're leading into the Sunshine Double, which we are excited for. So thank you for joining us on this mini pod. It's been great to catch up on the news that we thought was fun and exciting from last week. We will see next week, actually, and I can announce this already. So if you are listening to this and you've listened all the way to the end, we can announce already. Next week is going to be a recorded episode. It's another episode in the Meet the Professionals series, where we will be interviewing Calvin Betton, who is a doubles coach. He coaches Henry Patton, Wimbledon and Australian Open champion in doubles, and also Julian Cash, who is a doubles player on tour. So yeah, that's what you'll be expecting next week, and then we will see you all in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it. See you in 2 weeks, everyone.